Okay, so before we move on to depersonalization, derealization disorder, this is a good place for me to revisit a statement, an opinion, to be clear, on that I brought up or I bring up in the trauma disorders lecture, and that is that I think that the DSM is in that trauma and the effects of trauma, as in depersonalization and derealization disorder, and the other dissociative disorders, but particularly with this one, and this is well contextualized in the virtual case study that I have accompanying the dissociative disorder section here, that I think the DSM is misguided continues to be misguided in talking about disorders that are clearly a direct connection to a traumatic event or a series of traumatic events as a disorder versus an injury. Looking at page 304 here, this is in the DSM-5, so it remains to be seen if any of this language will be revised in the DSM-5 TR. We just don't have the book yet to know this level of detail about this new edition. But on 304, in discussing development and course of depersonalization, derealization disorder, the authors continue to write about, given the rarity disorder, age of onset for the context of the book there, is okay. The disorder, if you think about these cluster of symptoms as a disorder, that they happen rarely, that's fine. But when we look at this in the context of, there's no argument there. But when we look at this in the context of a case like Julia, obviously a fictional case and fictional client, but what we're seeing in this case study is an individual who is clearly having a direct reaction to a severely traumatic event in being a teacher and witnessing a school shooting. And the case study infers a mass shooting event. She's been injured, to me. That this is a clear case, if you watch this case study, you can draw your own conclusion about this, that this is not someone who developed a disorder by some combination of genetics, biology, circumstance, lifestyle. She was injured, and severely injured, from an emotional brain context. And studies suggest that we might take our fictional client and provide her with her consent, of course, with brain imaging. We might actually see, if we had the benefit of before and after brain imaging, before and after of the event, that we would see physiological, observable changes to the physiology of her brain, even if they're temporary. But I just think that it's, in other words, sure, these cluster symptoms are rare, but this reaction, when you're subjected to a trauma like witnessing a student walk into the school you're teaching in and open fire on other students, maybe you. Think about the teachers and staff and students from Sandy Hook, for example. The likelihood of them developing dissociative symptoms might not be so rare. So so I just, when I think not just about depersonalization, derealization disorder, but also think about in the context of a case study like Julia, where we see a very clear, severe traumatic event, and then there's a significant change in the presentation of our client. Their ability to function and their level of distress are severely immediately impacted. That speaks more like an injury than an onset of an illness to me. Okay, that's all opinion. So, but I wanted to share it with you because part of this is just offering a perspective on things. And let's go back to what the book says about depersonalization, derealization disorder from the DSM-5.